Значит, до 2005 года я работал на Таймыре.
I worked in Tamar as chief geologist at Norilsk Gazprom and, simultaneously, as chief geologist at Tamar Oil Company, which is a joint venture between Norilsk Gazprom and Norilsk Nickel. Since 2006, I have worked as chief geologist at the Gazprom subsidiary Krasnoyarsk Gaz Geophysica.
Дочерней структуры Большого Газпрома. Вопрос о использовании гелия в качестве критерия нефтегазонасыщенности разреза.
We first became interested in the use of helium as a criterion for oil and gas saturation in geological sections when developing the Mesoy-Akskoye gas hydrate field as a source of gas for the Norilsk Industrial District. The Mesoyak-Skoye field consists of two parts, upper and lower, divided by an impermeable layer. Permeability of the lower part of the gas accumulation is up to 1 darcy, but that of the upper part is no more than 100 millidarcies. The lower part was developed intensively as a source of gas for Norilsk Industrial District on account of its greater permeability. Development of the upper part began once strata pressure of 50 atmospheres had been attained. The geologist and mineralogist Dr. Gabriel Ginsberg worked with us at the start of the 1990s, specializing in gas crystal hydrates. He subsequently worked on crystal hydrates at offshore fields in the Black and Caspian Seas. We noticed that helium accumulates in wells in the space between the tubing and the cement wall. Actual Geology was also working with us at the time, expanding work which it had already done on a huge area between the Taz and Yenisei rivers, the western part of the Yenisei-Katansky Trough and the northern part of Bolsheksty Arch. Actual Geology carried out work at the Takinsky, Gochinsky, and Zimny license areas for Tamar Oil Company. Actual Geology extrapolated well observations from the Mesoyak-Skoye field to the work areas using high levels of helium as a criterion to locate oil and gas accumulations.
Поэтому была небольшая пауза до того времени, когда специалисты актуальной геологии нашли зарубежные приборы более высокой точности. По результатам гелиевой съемки
Helium surveying highlights sweet spots and provides a forecast of fluid saturation. Finding such sweet spots is the principal objective of geological work. And if a huge territory is being studied, it makes no sense to carry out 2D regional seismic followed by 3D work on the elevations which are discovered. Helium surveying can pick out sweet spots, and seismic work confirming the find by a second method should be limited to these spots. This makes sense because the next step is prospecting and evaluation by drilling, which is associated, of course, with very high costs.
Это бурение очень дорогое удовольствие. В прошлом году мы
Last year, we carried out a helium survey at the Taldinsky coal mine, where there is interest in extraction of coal bed methane. There have been frequent accidents with major loss of life in Russian coal mining areas due to gas explosions. So coal mines are now degassed and the methane used for local supply needs before the coal is extracted. Gazprom Kuznets is now preparing to develop the Taldinsky area based on results of the helium survey. Actual geology found zones with maximum gas content, sweet spots where production wells should be drilled. I am highly confident that drilling will be successful.
И здесь результат.
Two fields were recently discovered in Irkutsk region as a direct result of helium survey. One field with 80 million tons of recoverable oil reserves and the other with 150 million tons of recoverable reserves.
150 миллионов тонн. По результатам
I would emphasize that, in my view, study of helium content at all the different exploration stages, prospecting, evaluation, production, and temporary abandonment, is the only reliable indicator of the life, if you like, of a field. It can be used for estimating residual reserves and establishing the current state of the field.
индикатором жизни месторождения. Значит, использование
Use of helium surveying at the prospecting stage reduces costs of prospecting for fields. At the exploration stage, it enables savings on clarification of reserves at a field that has been discovered. At the production stage, helium surveying enables regular tracking of field depletion. And at the close-down stage, helium surveying enables closure to proceed in the confidence that there are no remaining reserves. Work carried out for the companies Lukoil and Ritek serve as an example. Works are carried out in Tatarstan, Kogalyim and Urey at fields which are in the closing stages of development. Based on helium survey findings, a number of idle wells were relaunched and are now giving production.
которые давали продукцию. Еще одной особенностью
Helium surveying is environmentally harmless. It can be carried out in nature reserves and conservation areas and in locations that are inaccessible to the heavy equipment required for conduct of seismic work.
по сейсмоработам. На Красноярском крае, на территории Красноярского края, значит, актуальной геологии выполнялись работы на Таимбинском и Амуринском лицензионных участках.
Actual Geology carried out work for Gazprom at the Tembinsky and Omurinsky license areas in Krasnoyarsk region. Well Tambinskaya 2 was sited based on results of the helium work. Drilling of the well penetrated a sandstone bed with thickness of 18 meters, which is in the contour of the Yorobcheno-Takhomskoye field. Testing of the well will be carried out in the near future, and reserves will be established for a large part of the territory.
Но я думаю, в ближайшее время, месяц-два, эта скважина будет испытана в колонии, и все точки будут расставлены.
Firstly, helium surveying makes it possible to find accumulations which require unconventional methods for their discovery and development. Accumulations in inaccessible locations with lithological difficulties, non-structural traps, and accumulations of heavy oil. This is a 21st century technology, a tool that enables discovery of accumulations in non-classical reservoirs and traps.
Можно привести ряд примеров.
The Bazanyovskaya could be used as an example. It has been studied for 50 years already, and we had drilled well 2024, which was a dry hole before the helium survey was carried out. After this, the helium survey was carried out at two areas, the Galyanovskaya and Shredny Nazmyashkoye fields. Since then, they have had uninterrupted success. Flow rates have been no lower than 50 and 200 tons. That is the first example. The second example is the Longyu Ganskoye field, where 2 wells were drilled after seismic work had been carried out. Both were unsuccessful. A helium survey was then carried out and another well was drilled, which gave commercial inflows of oil, confirming hydrocarbon presence and discovering the Longyu-Ganskoye field. This was in the West Siberian Basin, Khanty-Mansi and Yamal-Nenets autonomous districts. More than 200 wells were drilled in the northeastern part of Tatarstan in Soviet times, of which only 2 were successful in finding oil. I made a report on this to the president of Tatarstan, Mintimir Shamiyev, in 2007. Reinterpretation of available geological and geophysical data was then carried out, and a helium survey was carried out. Discoveries resulted in 4 separate fields.
Волковское и Мензелинское месторождение. Ну, помимо того, что гелевая съемка...
We found that helium surveying can be used not only for exploration, but also for discovery of residual reserves when a field is already in development, for field enhancement, and during the closing stages of its operation. One example of this is the Chernomukskoye field, which has been in development for more than 20 years. We drilled sidetracks there. We looked for zones where reserves had not been exhausted and drilled wells at those sites. Using a traditional approach, sidetracks gave 3 tons or maximum 4 tons. But our 12 boreholes, which were drilled using helium survey results, gave at least 12 tons of pure oil. That is a high flow rate for Tatarstan, where the average daily flow is only 3.5 tons. The average flow rate for the whole of Tatarstan. We obtained more than 12 tons. Helium surveying is an instrument that helps us to optimize development of old oil fields.
И оптимизировать разработку. И в заключение я хотел бы...
To conclude, I would say that helium surveying is a 21st century technology. As such, I can confirm that it has been included in the strategy for development of Tatarstan's fuel and energy sector as a priority technology for prospecting, exploration, and further development of fields.
До разработки месторождений.